What's going on, Facebook? This is going to be a fun one. This is going to be one that is going to turn some heads today. I am sitting here with 5 total badasses coming out of Jersey that have all recently made a move from Remax, where some of you guys even own some franchises over there, and collectively have all decided to make a huge move over to eXp. The company's growing like crazy right now. We're adding like 1,000+ agents a week right now. But I want to talk to you guys, and I don't know what order we're going to go in here today with. I've never done one of these with 6 people, but I would love to hear from you guys. How did this all come about? Because you guys all run massive groups. You guys are very well respected in Jersey, do a ton of production. Like, how did this happen?
Wow.
I mean, I don't know who wants to answer it, but really, we were, early pandemic. Christian, my partner, Christian Giamanco is my partner on our previous agency, and now my partner at eXp. I mean, we're all partners present day, basically. But as far as from where we came from, my partner, Christian Giamanco, and I had talked about doing something different. And we had been speaking with Gene and Chris Brown previously about doing something collectively together and eliminating all of the separation and the independently owned and operated platforms that we had. And we weighed some options, and we were pretty much heading in one direction with an opportunity that presented itself, I'd say last March, April. Christian and I had met with the CEO and board of directors of another very large and very respectable brokerage in the United States. They had made us a formal offer to do a complete buyout of our agency. Chris Brown and Gene were more than likely going to follow in the same footsteps. And it was honestly like the 11th hour. We had the offer on the table from this other company, and we were pretty much expected to make some decisions. And, we had some contacts over at eXp. At the very last minute, we said, you know what, before we decide on anything permanent, why don't we get a conversation going with someone over at eXp who has who has something similar at eXp, either like what we have going on here in Jersey, or had something like us that was very similar that went to eXp. And what did it result in? Like, where are they at now? And we utilized some of our contacts that are over there at eXp. We lined up some Zooms, and it was just like we had I think the first Zoom we had was with Dan Beer. And then after that, we spoke with Chuck Fazio. And then it just kept going on and on and on. And we started speaking with these guys that had gone over with, teams of 30 or 50 or 100, or I think Chuck went over with a huge team, like 700 or something like that. And we all kind of just looked at each other over the phone, I guess, as best you can look at each other. But we all just kind of, I don't know, had this aha moment. And we said, I think really what we're looking for is what eXp can give us, and there really wasn't anything that compared. I mean, where I was standing, I can personally say that, everything was becoming virtual, and everything was, it's like the world was going through, 10 years of advancement all within a matter of months as a result of the pandemic. And I just felt that all of these other companies, really, they're all doing the same thing. They just have different logos and different, brand colors. I mean,
that's it, Walsh. I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's exactly it. That's exactly it. He hit the nail on the head. It's that everybody's the same, and, Remax, for us was a great company, but I felt like, for me personally, and I think Chris, shares this with me, that, we kind of hit a wall where we were, and it's like, what's the next best thing? We were out there trying to recruit agents for volume and this and that, and it was just so different. And him and I are, like you said, well known in our area. We do really well. We have a great reputation. and it just wasn't working, for us anymore. And our agents started to see that too. So when we started talking to guys at eXp, it just, for me, light bulbs went off, and I've owned a bunch of businesses over my life, and I thought this was a great opportunity, and also for our agents, because we have a really close knit relationship with our people, and we were really excited. The other opportunity that we had was exciting for Chris and I, but not exciting for the agents. This, like, we couldn't wait to get it to our agents, and I got to tell you, now that we're how many months or weeks into it, our agents, they were all nervous and all scared, but they were looking at us like, Chris, the number one guy in RE/MAX in New Jersey. I was up there, whatever, Sal Ventry, all these guys up there. Our company was up there, Chris Brown, and everyone's looking at us like, these guys are at the top. Why are they doing this? Because really, you don't have to, right? It's very easy to make that decision when you're doing no business. But when you're like us, I think everybody was like, we need to follow these guys, and we trust them. And it's awesome. I mean, listen, we're not even like a little bit into this whole thing to see what it's going to bring to us, but it's cool, man. I'm excited. I think it's going to be awesome. I really do.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have this, but I know when I went to my team, because we moved 3 years ago, when I went to my team and told them, there was a handful of them were like, I'm glad you're doing this, because I was about to leave and go there anyway. Like, if you didn't go there, I was going there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if any of you guys experienced that.
That was absolutely the case. That was absolutely the case with many people. I mean, when I brought this to, Sal was probably the first person within our agency that I approached and spoke to about this. And then my brother, who also operates operated under our RE/MAX agency, I went to him, but I went to Sal, and it was like, wow, listen, we've been looking into this for the last 2 months. Like, I'm so glad that you're bringing this to us. And I'll tell you, like, that's what I notice right now is that, we announced we were making this move. I mean, we had 63 agents with RE/MAX before we announced we were making the move. Before we even announced we were making the move, just from like buzz that was out there, plus we had started moving our agents over. And before we had done anything, I mean, our agent count went to 82 within a matter of 2 weeks. So, I mean, that, and for me, I'll say this as probably the last thing, and I want these other guys to talk, but my biggest thing was the scalability of going to eXp. For years, for the last 14 years that we owned and operated RE/MAX, the real estate leaders, it was a major undertaking to recruit, because you were only looking for one specific type of agent, because the coaching and the training just wasn't there. And then you're inundated having to, do everything that an owner and operator has to do when you have all that liability and responsibility, and your time is super limited, and you don't really want to, take the time away from your schedule unless it's for, a super established, ready to go agent. And, the scalability factor just isn't there under those models. But with eXp, there's a ton of training. I mean, I had agents of mine that were in your Fast Forward Movement Zoom this morning. I'm able to direct the agents where to go to get proper training and all that. I could focus on going after new agents, and I don't care if an agent is brand new now, or if they're, an agent for a year, or even if they're, let's say, a $15 million producer. We have the resources and the skill set, among our leadership panel, if you will, that we can help all these guys, and we can give them new ideas, and we can give everybody, proper guidance and direction, and give them that blueprint that they need to be successful. And we don't have to pigeonhole ourselves now to having one specific type of agent. And we can recruit and attract agents from all over the place. So, I mean, we have agents that are naming us from South Carolina, from Florida, I got a guy that's over in Costa Rica. He's trying to figure out how to get involved in the network. I mean, so we could scale this and really bring what we've been bringing to our concentrated geo area. Now we could bring it to, hundreds, if not thousands of agents, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's where it gets fun. You go from like, oh, we're here in North Jersey or South Jersey, to now we're in North Carolina, we're in South Carolina. Pretty soon you're like, we're in South America, we're in, we're in France, we're in Canada. Like, it's so fun to take what you guys have developed over the last 15 years. You guys have developed there locally, but now be able to expand. I mean, there's no borders. Like, you could cross anywhere you want to. You don't have to deal with regions or franchises or any of that, right? You guys can go anywhere you want tomorrow, right? If there's somebody wanted to be with, a franchise and they were in some mountain town in, Wyoming, like, unless there was a local franchise, you couldn't join that company. Here, you could be in some mountain town in France and you could join the company tomorrow. Like, we don't have to deal with all these barriers to entry that the old school franchise model puts into place. And we don't have to worry about crossing over and all the issues that come along with that. It's one company across the world. And it's the beautiful thing is it's the same, right? Across the states, like whether you're talking to somebody there in Jersey or in Wyoming or in California, it's the same. You know exactly what it is. You don't have that fragmentation where, well, if you're in this area, this is how the model works. And then if you just cross the street, this is how the model works. And then if you go like up to the city, then this is how the model works. Like, you don't have any of that, which I think is so smart the way that they built this company.
Yeah, it's very consistent.
Cool.
I was actually gonna touch on that. That's unfortunately with most of us, in our neck of the woods, there's offices all over the place. An office can be opened, 3 blocks away or, next door to you or whatever the case is. And because each franchise is independently owned and operated, all these guys can do whatever they want and run their offices how they want to run it. So that was the issue, and then this model, what I like, I've had some, agents asking me, oh, can we do this? Or, could the split be a little higher? I'm like, no, everybody gets the same exact thing. You want to get a higher split, do your GCI and get to that 100% as quick as you can. How much higher do you want that 100%? So, but going back to what these guys were saying, for all of us, I think it's, I just think it was time. It was there was this tsunami that was coming, this tidal wave, the whole shift. I feel like this whole real estate market is being disrupted right now. And when there's disruption and when there's change, people have fear, because people don't like change. That's really what it comes down to. And, we had an event last week where we had a whole bunch of people, in one room in Colts Neck that were all new to eXp. And I mean, I only grabbed the mic for about 120 seconds. That's all Chris allowed me to talk, was like 2 minutes. And I just said to the whole room that, you guys right now in this room, you guys are the trendsetters. You guys are the ones that are pretty much like leading this movement. And it's funny, like, even though eXp's been around like since 2009, they really didn't get on people's radars until like in the last couple of years, but now what do they keep saying? I keep hearing it from Jay Kinder or the other guys, like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's pretty much what's happening on a daily basis. It's like, I got my own agents coming to me and saying, I'm seeing, I'm getting all these offers now from eXp agents, or I'm seeing eXp signs all over the place because it's, you're seeing it, you're thinking about it, and it's like all in front of you now. But that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. And even like for myself, with this whole change and shift and movement, we needed to get ahead of that curve, ahead of that wave, before it came crashing down upon us. And then, we would be underwater trying to figure out how do we get back up. And I feel like that's going to happen to a lot of these brick and mortar, companies or so that have been around for 20, 30, 40, 50 whatever years, and they're not moving with the times, right? Or they're not moving quick enough, and they're not making changes fast enough. If they do make a change, they'll make this big announcement, and it's not very exciting, whatever their announcement was. You know what I mean? And that's like their big aha moment, like, this is what we're doing now, and it's not very exciting. But once you see with eXp and what they're doing and what this future looks like, and I keep going back to, everything we see with the whole Blockbuster to Netflix. I remember the first time that it actually kind of like burned into my brain is when I watched a few videos that Gene Frederick put out. I don't even know who this guy was. I have no clue. After watching a few videos, it turns out this guy owned like, I don't know, 7, KW market centers or something. And I remember this, I said it to my wife, and I'm like, this guy comes home, is talking to his wife, and he says to her, if you knew Netflix existed, would you buy a Blockbuster? And she, absolutely not. He goes, well, we own 7 Blockbusters right now, and that's all that was like burned into my brain. And that's what I've been thinking about. And you know what? None of us want to own Blockbusters. We want to be ahead of that game. And we also want to take all of our agents with us because they've entrusted us, for all these years. And I want to make sure that they're also taken care of. And I want to make sure that they're setting themselves up for the future and not just relying on linear income, input, output, input, output. Maybe they can do something a little extra and maybe build a little nest egg in 5 or 6 years that they can, dabble into and maybe buy a beach house or do something with extra money. There's nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't exist right now. That's the whole thing. So
love that. Chris, what was it for you? Chris Brown, I'll make sure we clarify since there's 3 of you on here. What was it for you? And I know Gene talked a little bit about his agents. What was it that you saw, not only in the vision for yourself, but for your agents too?
So I'm a little bit different than these guys. I was an owner. I'm not a realtor. I was the owner of, at one time we had 7 RE/MAX offices, over 250 agents. Over time, we just whittled it down into around 90 agents. Over time, the wherewithal to be a broker owner and to want to expand, it just wore you down. It just really wore you down because you were spending so much time and energy on non-productive events, and you were putting out fires, and you were spending a lot of time and that energy where you tried to create plans for a 5-year execution, but then you were set back because you had to go deal with these issues, this compliance issue, or spending more money on this type of auditing software, and then you had to learn that, and then you had to deal with lawsuits. And then you have to go get insurance and make sure you get the right pricing, and then business owners buy. All those components just wear you down. And I was an owner for 17 years. Last year we were with our previous franchisor. We did 1,643 transactions, and it wasn't the profitability and the win for not just me, but for the agents wasn't the best. It wasn't the best scenario. And then when I started to dive into the different platforms, and you take a look at the eXp platform, it was a win for me as a broker owner. You shed the liability. You spend your energy on productive events. You get to plan a lot of fun stuff that is going to yield a lot of profit and wealth building and enjoyability items, and see how to go, and you shed a lot of that negative energy, and you then on top of that you learn about the culture. In our previous franchisor, it was more or less very cannibalistic. Everybody shared very limitedly. You kind of held your cards close to your chest, but here in this network, in this platform, it's so shared. Kyle, what you have done, Dan Beer, Joe Oz, Brett Secor, Dan DeVoe, all these guys, Chuck Fazio. I mean, all these people I met wanted to share information. This is how you can get better. This is how you can do this. The other day I was on the Fast Forward Generals, and I had a question about rentals in the shore area and how to do property management. Boom, I had 5 different answers from all over the country giving me advice on how to handle that situation. Previously, it was not like that. You kind of had to find out and meander through all of those, situations by yourself. And that's how I felt. For the agents, they're doing phenomenal. I've got agents now who capped in the first month who are making serious money. They're excited. They're I want to say they're not going out recruiting, but they're being asked by other agents, their peers, why did you make? Because I have some really heavy producers in my company. A lot of them, just about all of them, and they were just able to give great answers. And it was all by attraction, not by promotion. You know, the ability to flip, turn houses and keep going. I've asked all my top producers, and there's some pretty good ones. Have they seen any production downfall? Any, did they lose an opportunity? Because they absolutely not. Zero. The transition from where we were to where we are now has been completely successful. Have we had hiccups on converting? Because we went from an office operating to a team, and we had to convert some of administrative staff into transaction coordinators. That platform and getting into that. And honestly, it's exciting because the people that we have are incredibly talented, and they're creating these platforms that are working, and they're getting better every day. And there's new stuff that we're learning, and people on the eXp side are helping us with that. We're not going it alone.
Yeah.
Not just our group. Our group, now it is over 300. I brought on a friend of mine who I've known for many, many years. He's been a part of an independent agency for 42 years, his family. His mom is 83 years old. She's still a silver level producer in our area at 83, Eleanor McKenna. Now, Mark McKenna is now the team leader of the Pat McKenna Realtor team that came over and onboarded with eXp with his 26 agents. They saw this value that we all saw glaringly. And honestly, for those who are not asking about it, they're foolish. Just ask about it because they need this information, because it will enhance their lives. They will have more time to do more positive, productive energy events.
I came from the broker world, Chris, and when I look at it, when I was the broker, I was doing like loss mitigation work. You're just trying to not lose money, trying to not get sued, trying to not screw up, trying to like deal with this complaint or this attorney letter.
You're doing risk management.
Yeah, like that's all gone, and now you just get to focus on income generation, which is the fun part. Like none of us got into this industry to figure out how do I lose less money. Like there's nothing fun about that. Like we got in this, we want to figure out how do we help more people and make more money. And now you get to shed all of those headaches, all of those stressors, and just go have fun.
I 100%. I'm done being a risk manager.
Yeah.
And we're focused on production management.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's huge for us. It's huge for all of us on this. We all had our own different reasons, but when you throw those in together, it's like, we all have our own talents and we all had our own reasons for coming over. But this platform answered all those reasons.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal. eXp's been great. Dealing with the executive team has been great. Agent experience staff has been great. Our New Jersey broker has been awesome. You use the proper channels and get into the workplace chats and get into your eXp world. You will get the answers very quickly. If you tried to go the old way and try to call people up and send an email, no, you're not going to get answers right. You have to learn that curve.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, Kyle, having us on here, and you've done amazing things for us. Your fast forward movement is just ridiculous. And my wife, who's our team leader, she is in every one of your classes, every one of your masterminds. She's there, and she's now also contributing topics for you guys, and you've been doing that. And thank you very much, by the way.
Yeah, cool. Well, Sal, I want to make sure you get some time here. What was the reason for you? What were you most excited about?
Yeah, so for me, I have a little bit of a different perspective than these guys because I wasn't a broker owner. I was actually a team under Chris and Christian. So for me, it was a little bit of a different perspective. And like Chris had said, prior to us really making the decision to come to eXp, I had already somewhat been exploring what's out there because I have a team right now. We're approaching 20 full-time agents and staff. And I had started growing this team about 3.5, 4 years ago. And I kind of, when I created the team, I didn't really follow a blueprint of anyone in the past. And I kind of just went on how I felt a team should be run based on my experiences as an individual agent. And so as I had grown my team over the last couple of years, once Chris brought this concept to me of eXp and everything that it allowed me as a team leader, it was definitely a no-brainer for me. So, you know, a lot of the challenges that I faced or thought I was going to face with being a team leader was obviously scalability, right? Being able to attract agents in other markets, having office spaces in certain areas, but being able to really scale to a place where this can be, you know, something that I can make a long-term career out of, because I think a lot of people have a misconception upon teams and team leaders that, like, hey, at the end of the day, you know, if I just have a small 5 or 6 person local team, you know, there's really nothing sustainable about that for my future. The second that I stop selling, they stop selling, income is gone, right? And so I just felt I was putting so much into growing my team and into putting the systems in place and everything else that this allowed us to scale to the next level. And it also freed up, truthfully, if we're being open, it freed up a lot of money to give back to my agents in form of either marketing or support or staff. You know, we're now able to hire the appropriate staff to assist my agents because there's a little more money left on the table for us to do that. Whereas with our previous broker, and I know a lot of the brokers out there, what it costs to operate a team, it's not feasible to really scale. And I think eXp, being more of a forward-thinking company, realizes that that's the way the industry is going. And these top producers, they want to have teams. And that's the way to scale your business and kind of take a step back from the day-to-day operations of it. And so for me, I needed to find a better model. And eXp, in that sense, hands down, was it. And, you know, also, too, I've had this conversation with Chris and Christian and Chris Brown a few times. I always kind of look to what's next, and again, you know, putting in countless hours and making countless amounts of sacrifices to grow my team and to support my agents. In the back of my mind, there was always this kind of burning question of like, well, geez, you know, like I said, if I stop selling or something goes wrong in my world, this is all just going to come crashing down overnight. And so when the whole revenue share was brought to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is what I'm already attracting agents. You know, I pride myself on the fact that I've never made a recruiting call, you know, so everyone on my team has been attracted to me and has come to me. And so once I started talking to some of the team leaders and really understanding the concept of how eXp worked, I was like, this kind of just aligns perfectly with my world, almost on accident. You know, I had been building a team kind of to how I wanted it to be in a very particular type of structure, and eXp just supports that so perfectly. And it allows my agents something to look forward to on the back end, because we do work very, very hard. You know, we put in tons of hours and sacrifices, you know, for our clients. And so it's nice to know that on the back end, we might reap some benefits of that hard work.
Yeah, it's been super cool. I mean, being 3 years in now, we've gotten some maturity in the system. And like last year, one of my agents set a goal to finish the year debt free. And in December, he pulled up his stock portfolio and only had to cash half of it out and was able to finish the year debt free like he wanted. Awesome. I've got agents who are literally putting down payments on houses, right, from the stock that they've acquired just by being with the company. And then I've got agents with the revenue share who some of them are making enough to cover their car payment every month. Sure. I've got some of them who are making enough to cover their house payment every month. And these are just, you know, producing everyday agents on the team. Yeah. This isn't something, right? Like people might look at you guys and be like, oh, well, you guys are big dogs there in Jersey, but what is this going to do for an average agent? I mean, there's story after story of the things that this model's provided to agents that just don't exist anywhere else.
Yeah, I can tell you guys, I mean, 2 things real quick on that note. You know, we were all at Remax for quite some time, and this isn't a dig at Remax or anything. It's just their model, and it may work for many people. But look, I was there for close to 15 years. Christian was there for about 5. Sal was there for 10 years, I think, or close to it. And listen, I mean, every year we were absolutely knocking it out of the park. I mean, you know, what we saw in the end was really whatever, we generated for ourselves. There were no other profit centers, no other streams of revenue. There were no other ways for us to, utilize our talents and our relationships and everything else. And, I'd say the nail in the coffin for me, at least, because you got to remember, I was a producing owner. So I've always been a top producing agent in my marketplace. But the nail in the coffin for me was, I have a conversation with Joe Oz, and he shows me his Morgan Stanley stock account with all his eXp stock. And I'm like, whoa, wait, what? I'm like, that is absolutely crazy. That's just
come on, Chris, you did get something. You got a trophy.
I got a trophy. I got a ribbon.
Paperweight.
I got a ribbon and a trophy. I can show it's right behind me here. That's what I got. I had just hit Circle of Legends, that means your GCI is $10 million in your career at Remax. And not for nothing, but I don't own one share of Remax stock that was ever given to me or awarded to me. Not given, but awarded to me or purchased at an incentivized rate at 10% less. Never an opportunity like that. So, I just feel like for years we were missing out on so many things that, eXp is able to give us. I did want to touch on one thing with a lot of these broker owners of franchises. I talk to a lot of colleagues and friends, associates and whatever that are broker owners. And one of the biggest questions that I had gotten, and I'm sure Brown and Gene and Christian also got it, which was, oh my God, you're going to give up ownership? You're going to give up ownership of your agency and you're going to go to eXp where you don't own anything? And I got to tell you that unless you have a crazy ego where you've got to stay owner, you're doing your agents an injustice. You're charging them more money for something that you don't need to be paying for. You're pigeonholed to certain territories and areas like we were, where we couldn't expand. We had no room to grow because there were other franchise owners that literally had, grandfathered place, regions and whatnot, and we just couldn't move into them. And a lot of our agents wanted to be able to spread their wings. They wanted to be able to, advance their careers, and we couldn't give it to them. So it was like, if we give up ownership and we move our team to eXp, we're going to, one, for ourselves as team leaders and, the driving force behind this migration, we're going to open up other revenue streams and other profit centers for us. But now we get to turn around and help our agents build what we currently had at our previous franchise. We're going to help them with attracting more agents and now helping them build their revenue streams. It's like we gave our agents a major upgrade to their careers and their businesses. And all we had to do was check the ego, give up ownership, and make this move. And it was like the best thing in the world. And I don't understand why, some people struggle with that. For us, it was a no-brainer. It really worked for everybody, and it was just the best decision we ever could have made.
I love it. Yeah, there's a saying, right? You can have ego or money. You can't have both. So that ego, it's hard to let go, right? You guys did it for 14 years. I owned mine for 12 years before making the move, and it's hard, right? Why would you give up your own brokerage, whether it's franchise or I have my own independent? Why would you give it up? Why would you give it up? Because we think there's this big pot of gold, at the end of the rainbow, that there's going to be this day that somebody's going to come in and buy me for, tens of millions of dollars. And I went down that path. I looked at, an M&A deal from 3 different companies, and that pot of gold was maybe a satchel of gold at best. It was nothing compared to what I had expected it to be. And when I got to that point, I realized why the hell am I dealing with all what Chris was talking about, all the headaches, all the stresses, all the risks? Why am I dealing with all that if there's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? And then when I started to look at eXp and realize I could make this move, but unlike some of the other brands out there where I basically have to give up my identity, right? Because some of these brands, they got this brand and identity guideline book that's like 100+ pages. It's like your sign has to be this color with this font, and our logo is this big, and you get this little line of your logo to where your sign looks just like the guy's sign in Florida, and just like the guy's sign in Texas, and just like the guy's sign in California, where you're just branding the company. You're not getting to brand yourself. Where with eXp, when I realized I don't have to give up my brand at all. I can keep my colors. I could keep my logo. I could keep my identity. I don't have to give everything up. Like, yeah, I got to comply with the state rules, but I don't have this overbearing, branding department that's, completely crushing everything that I want to do. They let me have my freedom to the point where people still think I'm the broker just because the eXp is, it's there and it's compliant, but our look, our feel, our identity is the same it's always been. When I started, I was like, I don't have to give everything up. All I had to give up was the risk and loss mitigation side of it. And now instead of that, I focus on the income production. We're on track to do somewhere in the neighborhood of $350-400 million this year, which was half of what we were doing when I was the broker, because now I don't have to deal with all that crap anymore. Now I get to go have fun. I get to take my team to Cabo like we just did, for a week and party and have fun, and not have to be here dealing with freaking depositions and all that nonsense anymore. So
there's another component to this too, Kyle. I mean, let's imagine you build up an agency and you've been really successful. You've got up to 50, 60 agents working with you, and you turn around and then one of your agents would like to essentially go on their own. Great. They go on their own and they buy a franchise and they open up in a territory that's relatively close to where you are. And lo and behold, you turn around, you just lost 12 or 15 agents overnight because that new agency or that new franchise that just opened up that's just like yours basically recruited 15 new agents that you worked so hard to bring in to the system, and now they're over somewhere else because that new agency doesn't have legacy costs just like you do. And now they can be way more competitive because you've got legacy costs and you've got all these big expensive, employees and things of that nature and softwares and things, and the new agency doesn't, and they're cheaper than you. And
imagine at eXp, we could like steal each other's rev share. Like we could steal each other's people. That's basically what we just came from. You could steal each other's.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that, Chris. But I'm just describing a scenario that is out there that
to our own agents.
But Chris Brown, what you just said, I can guarantee you 1,000% right now that there are either people that are watching this right now, or they're going to watch it later tonight or tomorrow, and they're going to say to themselves, Chris Brown is speaking to me. Because I know, well, I'm not naming any names, but I already know that there's people out there, whether it's in New Jersey or other states, I know for a fact that there was an agent or a person that was taken. It happened to Chris Walsh. There were people that were taken from your brokerage and they were sold a franchise. And then that person takes, 10, 15, 20 people from your office. But the question is, why is it allowed? Why is it allowed to happen? Like I tell my agents all the time, right? For clients, your buyers and seller. I tell them, for my clients are my agents, right? We're technically in the agent business. But for our franchisor, aren't we their clients? I'm assuming we are, but we weren't being protected.
But listen, Gene, that goes back. That's just what I was saying about
Chris Brown said. He was speaking to people right now that are going to be watching this, and
But you know what, guys?
Absolutely. One thing. There's definitely people that are saying like, "Wow, Chris Brown is speaking to me."
Yeah, listen. One thing, guys. There's that old saying, right? Everything happens for a reason, which I'm a firm believer in. And Chris and I worked tirelessly at trying to build our agency, which we did. But we were constantly defending splits and commissions. I mean, you have a guy that's killing it. All of a sudden, he's like, I want 95% instead of 90. And then I want 97 or whatever. And, when Sal approached us he was thinking about leaving and building a great team, Chris and I, was a wake-up call for Chris and I. We were like, listen, just like Gene said before, you know what, guys, we wake up one day and we're done. You know what I mean? Like, this is like we lose one big guy like that, and then the domino effect happened. And then, we were sweating it for a little while. But again, everything happens for a reason. Look where we are now. And like I said, I have nothing bad against Remax. They did very well by me, my old brokerage, whatever. But I think this is the way of the future. I think everybody, every agent has got to at least they're doing themselves an injustice. No one likes to make that leap of faith themselves. They always want to follow somebody. Look at us right here on this six of us, like all successful guys in other different businesses, this business. We're not dummies, right? I mean, it'd be stupid for people not to just pick up the phone and be like, just ask the question, you know? And that's what Chris and I did, and all of us here did for a long time. And we exhausted this tirelessly because we weren't stupid. But I think we made the best decision ever, and I can't wait for the next year, 6 months. I think it's going to be awesome. Really, really good, man.
Yeah, let me share this. One of the things that you guys are going to find here, because it's still super new to you, but you're going to have this happen where you take this agent who's literally like sleeping in their car, has absolutely nothing, and you bring them into your organization. You teach them how to crush. You take them from sleeping in the car to making $100,000-$200,000 a year. And then they're like, well, it's been real. I'm out of here. I'm going to go do my own thing. And that could be very frustrating, right? Whether you're a broker owner, a team leader. Here's what's cool now. Like last year, I had 5 agents who decided it was time to spread their wings and fly. And normally I might have been upset in that scenario, right? Because I taught you everything. Here's what's cool is even though they've left my team, they've stayed with the company because they love the company. And now I'm actually financially incentivized to help them grow, even though they're not even with Whistle anymore. Now they're still a part of my group, and I'm now financially incentivized to pour into them almost more so after they left than when they were with me, because now I want them to build their own teams. I want their team to be successful. Like, how cool would that be if when this does happen moving forward, now you're actually grateful. You're like, hey, how can I love on you? How can I help you grow? Like, that's the coolest thing about this company is the way that I win is through you guys. The way that you guys win is through your guys, right? Like, that's how we win in this company. And it's truly a magical thing that they've created.
That's been an awesome thing that I've experienced since coming over. Prior to going to eXp, kind of like you said, you almost had to really sneak around and try to get information out of anybody, and everyone was kind of like a closed book. And the support and the fact that everyone is so open and willing to help at this company has just been incredible. And, you know, I'm a big believer in that. Chris and I have had many conversations about this, of just kind of like giving it all out and being an open book. And, you know, I think just in this industry in general, realtors get too focused on, you know, it's me versus the other realtor, or this company versus that company. And I love the camaraderie and the support and just the overall just assistance that everyone shows in eXp. It's been awesome.
And I would just want to make something clear. This, for all of us, was not about hurting anybody or hurting any brand. This whole thing was about making a better situation for our agents, progressing professionally, and also maintaining a very healthy property for the rest of us, you know, going into a very strong future. This had nothing to do with another brand being bad or good. It was about evolving into being better professionals. And we've achieved that, and we're very fired up about it. To be quite honest with you, I don't know about you guys, but I enjoy coming to work every day.
You know, I think Chris and I also talked about this. You know, a lot of people say if it's not broke, don't fix it. But if you wait until it's broke to fix it, you're already late, right? And so I think we kind of saw the writing on the wall, and I think this is a good step for everyone.
So at the beginning, you know, Kyle, you said, you know, why?
Can't hear you, Gene. Can you guys?
We lost you, Gene.
You know, you guys are, you know, crushing it. You guys are doing all. Oh wait, hang on. Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Now we can. You're good. You're good, man.
All right, good. No, one of you guys were saying at the beginning, you know, why are we making this move? You know, everybody is crushing it. Everybody's at the top. Everybody is, you know, doing so well. But at the same time, it's not just doing well and crushing it, like Chris Brown just said. And, you know, you want to keep moving forward. You want to do better. You know, and then I think about, you know, if anybody watched like Seinfeld, why did Seinfeld go off the air? The guy was like crushing it every week, all those episodes, and at the top, the guy left. He could have wrote it out, you know what I mean? So that it kind of like it's similar for me in that aspect.
You're Seinfeld.
You're Seinfeld, Gene? I love it. Cool. We're coming to the top of the hour. Any of the last things you guys want to share before we wrap up today? This has been fun.
I just want to thank you, Kyle, for your leadership. I mean, you're setting a stage that I've never experienced in my life in business, and we're happy to be part of what you're doing. And the fast forward movement is it's just awesome. I mean, I see it and I'm like, wow. You know, I'm Dave Kennord, the president, has been great. His staff has been great. Dan Beer has been great. I just have nothing but great things to say about every person I've come in contact with at eXp.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think I could speak for all these guys on here. We're all very successful people, but it's nice to be involved in a company where you learn every day. Like, I think our minds were going a little stagnant where we were from a learning process, and all of us are willing to learn every day. And, you know, we watch your stuff every day, Kyle, and all that stuff, and it's just every day we're learning new things. And I feel like, for me, like, rejuvenated. Like, you know, I mean, I just turned 50 years old, and I'm like, you know, this is great. I feel like I'm starting all over again, rebuilding something, and I love doing that. And I look up to you guys all the time now. I mean, and it's just great. You want an answer? You know, I call Chris. We go on this fast forward movement. It's awesome. It's really, really good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, even with what Sal said earlier, as far as just everybody being an open book, and that's kind of like what I've experienced with, you know, dealing with you, Kyle, and with Dan, and, you know, even, you know, hopping on a call with, you know, Jay Kender, and he's been, like, you know, awesome with any info he can share and point us in the right direction, things like that. But even for our agents, right, that they have access to all this stuff. So it's not just about us from a level that we're trying to do. It's about the agents, right? All of our agents, like last week we had, you know, Brett Sikora, Dave DeVoe in our room with like 200 people. And, you know, our agents have access to them, to what they're doing, to their systems and whatever they want to learn. And with you guys, I've already had a bunch of people that are logging in onto your stuff with Fast Forward Movement. So this is really not stuff they had before, because like how Sal said it earlier, sometimes people are not an open book. You know, not everybody likes to be open and share, but in this situation, everybody benefits from being an open book and sharing. It's you know, I love the collaboration.
Yeah, I will say that component, you know, the culture component of eXp as a whole, you know, I remember years ago when I launched the agency that we just came from, and, you know, just comparing the two experiences, it was night and day. You know, I mean, the culture here is just, you know, everybody from the first guy that you know was here on the island, so to speak, that founded it, right? Like, he wants to help the guy below him, who wants to help all the people below them and below them, because it's all just like a huge siphon, you know, and it just keeps helping everybody, you know, and it just, what helps the guy at the bottom helps the next guy up, helps the next guy up. And, you know, it's just this consistent, you know, constant momentum. And, you know, and that is what just keeps the culture going. And I love the fact that the culture is, you know, like, help your fellow guy, you know, pay it forward, you know, so somebody gave something, you know, to me, I want to give it to the next guy. And I'll tell you, helping that next guy, you know, helps me, you know, myself. I mean, you know, it makes me sharper every time I go through something else, or run somebody through, you know, my listing presentation strategies, or, you know, negotiations, or different marketing techniques that I'm coming up with. It makes me better as an agent, and as a broker, as a leader, as a mentor, you know. So I love being surrounded by that culture, you know, constantly, all the time, every day, all day.
I love it. Well, cool. If you're watching this, if this resonates with you at all, if it doesn't resonate with you, I don't know what will. But if this is resonating with you, I encourage you to reach out to one of these guys. Whoever it is, you know, reach out to them directly. I know that they'd love to answer any more questions that you might have. You heard them mention a couple times the Fast Forward Movement, the mastermind that we do. We do a mastermind every Monday morning. It's at 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. Where you get an opportunity to come on and just pick our brains. We've got 75 teams in the group doing $50+ million in production. What would it be like to be in that room? What would it be like to, versus what you have now, to have a support system like that you could ask your questions to, that you could discuss those big decisions you have to make with? if you want to have access to that this upcoming Monday, shoot these guys a message, give them a call. They'll get you access, they'll get you a password so you can join us this upcoming Monday and check it out. Guys, from the bottom of my heart, I'm excited to be aligned with you. I'd actually be scared to not be aligned with you guys. So I'm very excited to be aligned with you guys. We're going to have a lot of fun together. And I look forward to the future.
Likewise. Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks a lot, Kyle.